Finding the right resources and the right number of resources and keeping them dedicated long enough to finish the project is a big challenge that we come across.
So really when it comes to projects, I think the biggest struggle that everybody has is always going to be communication, is trying to get the intent of what the project is.
And once you start to peel the onion a little bit, then all of a sudden everybody starts to go in different directions or have different agendas or different needs that they want out of the project.
What are the milestones that we're trying to meet? And what are some of the problems that we're having in trying to meet them?
And it's managing those and being able to adjust to those that will make a project successful.
With the state, we need to find a way to adapt and to be able to deliver things more quickly that are more modular and that we can plug solutions together to make bigger things.
For any group to grow, you have to think about what it is that you're trying to accomplish and what's the best way to do that. So for us, it's probably cultural change.
So some of the things that we can do differently is looking at our resources across the board here at EIS.
But if you don't have your entire organization involved, you're going to run into roadblocks.
We have to be willing to take a risk and make a decision oftentimes.
Is just to take a mindset of being more adaptable.
Maybe that means mixing up people that aren't normally used to doing that type of work. Maybe it means we get creative in the type of technical solutions that we provide.
If we can all work together and know that what we're doing will have a great end result.
Because oftentimes being in such a hierarchical type organization, we really expect all those decisions to come from above and be filtered down to us.
So we do have those resources, and it's about pulling them in and using them appropriately.
And have that agile mindset, and not everything is black and white. There are some gray areas.
Now we're working in these groups that cut across organizations. We don't have our managers maybe right there, and so we're making decisions on the fly and expecting that the management team will be okay with the decisions we've made.
Tapping into our customer, bringing them in and having them be a part of the process.
Take more of a proof of concept approach to get to the best solution that we can, not just a solution that was designed 4 or 5 years ago, and by the time it's deployed, the technology is outdated. The business process is not what's necessary anymore.
I think change is hard for most people because it has to do with comfort and fear.
Change is hard because people are afraid of the unknown.
Change is so hard for people because they don't immediately see the benefits of the change.
Change is hard because we're creatures of habit.
The more that change impacts you as an individual, the more difficult that change is going to be to accept.
Even if you're doing something and you know there's something better, we're comfortable with what we do. We know the outcomes that we can expect, and we know the processes.
So if I'm not as good as I normally am, well, what does that mean?
We do a task until it becomes a habit, and then we're very comfortable with it.
We try to fit things into what we know and what we're comfortable with, rather than being unencumbered and saying, what's the best solution to a problem?
Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, hey, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to do a bad job. People want to do good.
Today, we're actually asking us to change paradigm.
Because we are trying to change some of the processes that we've been doing for years.
And we need to move into an area where we can take those risks and we can venture out into those areas where we're less comfortable.
And so we have to start thinking about it differently. We have to think more in terms of the way the customer sees it.
As IT professionals, as change management professionals, it's our job to make sure that it's clear.
One of the challenges of changing our mindset is that we're doing things, generally speaking, and from a work perspective, we do things that work.
I've found over the last year that I'm very hierarchical. I like things very structured.
I think for us, our biggest challenge that I see isn't that people aren't capable, it's that we're just not providing the information.
And if we look at changing that, well then, what's my value? If you change the thing that I've been doing and I'm good at and I know what I'm doing, how do I define myself?
A lot of that's a personal journey. People have to feel safe.
Especially if you're not already in that mindset, you're someone that's rigid or someone that likes structure.
I'm having to learn how to do it different, how to be a lot more agile.
And that's one of the components of change that we have to work through and help people understand that your value isn't going to be negated.
And you have to find that personal desire somewhere inside of you that will drive you to making that kind of change.
Some things are really deeply ingrained in people. And if you ask them to switch gears and do something else, you can instill a lot of anxiety in them.
A lot of that is our supervision and management staff making that process viable, making it safe.
As we get further down the path of doing things different, we're doing things a little bit more streamlined.
But it's getting people to think about that mentality. And it's very challenging. It's hard.
Some of the challenges is being patient, being present.
And that's really what we need to be focused on is not what is the change of what we're going through, but what is the end result? What is it that we're really trying to get to?
I've had the opportunity within just the last year or so to work on some projects that, because of the timeframes that we're given, we just simply couldn't follow the path that we normally do here when it comes to application development.
So it's been really, in a sense, an agile methodology, because we tried each solution, and as soon as we hit a roadblock, we didn't just stop. We looked at what else was available.
And because certain things arose during the project that we had to react quickly, we ended up doing multiple paths that would normally be iterative, and we did them concurrently.
So what we did was we pulled back. We threw out the dates, we threw out the requirements, and we went back to square one with our customers. And we listened to them, and we built a system that they could actually use.
And it really wasn't a big shift for them, because I think most of our customers are used to getting a completed product and then the very next day talking about the things they want to change and what they want to do to enhance it or improve it.
As a rank and file staff member, I felt empowered by utilizing this cross-functional team.
Not always relying on our contractors 100%.
I think that it would be very important for us to consider increasing our training budget to allow for IT staff to have a more broader experience.
Focus on those people who have a particular skill set or a skill that they're very proud of, and you leverage that.
We have to have different mechanisms in place to be able to be changed or adaptive enough to handle this new way of thinking.
All that cross-training going on, that knowledge transfer, documentation.
So I think it really behooves us to sit back and think about the things that could affect folks, maybe ask more questions.
Communication, change management, those are, I think, should be top priority.
And I think a lot more we need to be questioning it to see if it is still the right thing. And if we've learned something in the process that says maybe it's not, maybe we're the ones to raise the hand and say that we need to look at this problem differently.